Hi everybody, my name is Doug Wright. I am the principal trombonist of the Minnesota Orchestra. And like you, I have been stuck at home quite a bit these days. One interesting side effect of the situation in which we find ourselves is that I've had a bit more practice time than I usually do. Maybe you have found the same. And during that practice time, I have been working mostly on fundamentals actually. Like you, I like to play fast notes and high notes and loud notes, and I like to work on all that stuff too. But what actually makes all of those aspects better is working on fundamentals. And I can think of nothing more fundamental to brass playing than air. So I was going to talk about three different aspects of air today with you. The first is it takes a lot more air than you think to make a good sound. Air is an interesting thing in that we breathe literally all day and all night just to stay alive. And that builds up quite a habit on how we breathe. But when we're going to play a brass instrument, we actually have to breathe differently, a little deeper, take in more air, and we have to do it every single time we're going to play. That's a hard habit to get into because we do it differently the rest of the day. So one thing that I have done to try to get myself in the habit of breathing differently when I'm playing is I give myself 2 beats to breathe. I think about what my pulse is before I start playing a piece of music, and I count to myself, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, and on 3, 4 before I start, I'll breathe for those 2 beats. And I do this every single time. And that's how I've gotten myself in the habit of actually taking a deep breath. So for those 2 beats, when I'm breathing in, I'm thinking about beat 1 going right into my gut, deepest part of my diaphragm. And then the second beat filling up top. Now I want to try to leave my shoulders nice and relaxed. I don't want to be going like this. That creates a lot of tension, and that tension, any tension we feel in our bodies is going to come right out the bell. So I try to keep the shoulders nice and relaxed, but I try to fill up from the bottom, in a very relaxed way, fill up. So it looks something like this. So 1, 2. Now if the air comes in a nice relaxed and slow way, it's probably going to go out in a more relaxed way. And that relaxed airstream is what's going to help us play with a nice warm, relaxed sound. If the air is going really fast, sometimes we tend to get a bit more shrill sound. But if it's in a more relaxed way, it tends to kind of warm it up and round it out a little bit. So when I take in that big deep breath, not only does it help my sound, but it helps me to play longer phrases. Obviously, if I've got more fuel in the tank, I'll be able to go further. So I thought maybe I'd play like the first 8 measures of Bordone's Etude number 2, just to show that taking in 2 beats to breathe at the beginning is going to help me get through these 8 bar phrase with just a little quick breath right in the middle. This Etude is in 3/4, and the first 2 beats of that first measure happen to be rest, so that's perfect. So I'm going to breathe for those first two beats, and then I'm going to play these 8 bars. So 1, 2, 3. So taking those 2 beats in a nice relaxed way allowed me to use my air in a nice relaxed way and get through those 8 bars relatively easily with just a little bit of breath in the middle. The second aspect of air is that the speed of it can help us get into our upper register or into our lower register. The speed and the temperature of it. So when I want to play low, for instance, I want to think about using my air in a way as if I was going to sort of fog up a window on a cold winter day. I want to slow it down and heat it up a little bit. So like in this scale, for instance, I'm thinking about kind of a big yawn. Each note, the air gets a little bit more and a little bit slower. Big old yawn. So I'm going to try these first 8 measures once again. I'm going to take it down a fourth, and I'm going to be thinking about using a bit more air, but in a bit more relaxed way. Now, if I want to go even lower, I got to think about using a lot of air. It takes a lot of air to play low. That's why bass trombonists use a ton of air. Tuba players even more so. So in order for me to make it through these 8 bars, I got to really be relaxed about it. So a lot of air, moving very slowly. So air is hugely important not only for our sound but also in our phrasing. And now it's also really helpful in getting us down low. Now if I'm thinking slower and warmer to get low, what do you think is going to help me get high? Faster and cooler. So I'm going to try to kick it up a notch and see if I can start bringing this thing up a little higher and higher. And to get even higher, I just think a little faster and a little cooler. Never forced. I'm not like going like this. It's more just a very relaxed, speeding it up, cooling it off a little bit. So we can see that air helps play a longer phrase, bigger sound, nice and low, and also in the upper register as well. Obviously there's more to playing high and low than just the air. The embouchure has quite a bit to do with that as well. But the air is super important. And the more that we can rely on what our air speed and our air temperature is doing, the less our embouchure has to do. Our diaphragm's quite a bit stronger than our lips, so the more we can sort of rely on it, take some of the pressure off the chops, the better the result. The third and final aspect about air I'm going to talk about today is how it can help us in our dynamics. It is possible to play really loud with a good sound. And the way we're going to do that is again by just keeping the air nice and relaxed. As I crescendo, I think about increasing the air but slowing it down at the same time, so that my sound is growing this way rather than just I want it to expand and get bigger and bigger. And I do that by just thinking about increasing the air but slowing it down at the same time. I'm just thinking about relaxing. When I'm playing my loudest in the orchestra, I am as relaxed as I can be, at least conceptually. That's what I'm looking for. I'm looking to just be as relaxed as possible. Now, the exact opposite is true about when I'm going to go play soft. Now, if I think about really moving the air really slow and in such a super relaxed way, if there's not enough air traveling through the embouchure, it wants to stop vibrating. We've all been playing soft and all of a sudden the note kind of goes da, or we try to play and it goes fa. It's because there's generally not enough support to get those chops to vibrate. So I think about starting to move the air a little faster, a little cooler, as I'm getting softer and softer, and that keeps the chops vibrating, even into the softest dynamics. So right as I was getting to the softest part, I just thought about just moving the air just a little bit more, and that's what helps keep those chops vibrating, even in the softest dynamics. So, once again, those three aspects of air that are really important is A, it takes more than you think, so make sure you're breathing in a big way every time you're going to play. 2 beats to breathe is what has helped me get in that habit. And a side effect, or kind of an interesting thing, is like, sometimes if we're in a performance or whatever and we get a little nervous, what's the first thing that's going to go out the window? Our air. But if we are in the habit of taking those 2 beats to breathe, we're still going to do it. And if you take a nice deep breath at the beginning, it tends to kind of calm you down. So an interesting side effect is you're going to still breathe deeply, and you're going to kind of calm your body down a little bit too. That's really cool. The second, airspeed matters in terms of helping us get into our lowest register or our highest register. Slow and warm for down low, fast and cool for up high. And third is really slowing down and relaxing the airstream helps us to play big and loud, but with a big, broad, and warm sound. And thinking about it faster, cooler keeps the chops vibrating and keeps the softest dynamics working. So I think that'll do us for today. I hope you guys are keeping yourselves healthy out there and using this extra time to practice. How cool will it be the next time you get together with your bandmates, if your band director or one of your friends looks at you and says, "Wow, you sound really great. What happened?" It'd be terrific, right? So use a little bit of this extra time on your hands to practice. And so take care of yourselves, and I hope to see you around Orchestra Hall sometime soon. So long for now.